Introduce this week's hymn for reflection, I have an aid memoir, an old hymnal that was given to me some years ago by a member at Queen's Cross. A small gift. It's an old Boys Brigade hymnal published in 1958. The gentleman in question has given a lifetime of service to the Boys Brigade, or the BB as it's fondly known. We both, along with many others, owe a great deal to that organisation in the development of our faith as young people and also our growth as individuals. This week's hymn is one that is intimately associated with the Boys Brigade, and the words of which, drawn from the letter to the Hebrews in chapter 6, verse 19, are found on the BB emblem, the anchor, sure and steadfast. Will Your Anchor Hold was written in the mid-19th century by Priscilla Owens. She was a Sunday school teacher at a Methodist Episcopal church in the port city of Baltimore, Maryland. Owens wrote a number of hymns and songs for her pupils, Will Your Anchor Hold being the best known among them today. She was a prolific writer, and her name appears in both Christian and secular newspapers of the time. As well as hymns, she wrote poetry and Civil War songs. Moody and Sankey then changed the hymn so that each verse began with a question, more suitable for evangelistic campaigns, although Owen's original was a bit more reassuring in its tone. The familiar and hearty melody is one of the many tuneful compositions of William Kirkpatrick, a publisher from Pennsylvania in the same denomination of Owens. He was a carpenter, a furniture maker, and he compiled more than 87 books of hymns. Will Your Anchor Hold is a hymn held dear by the seafaring community, of course, given its roots and its imagery. But in the United Kingdom, it's most closely associated with the Boys Brigade. I myself remember singing it many a time at a Founders' Day service in Aberdeen's Music Hall, following a parade down Albine Place through Union Street. When I hear it, those memories flood back. But more importantly, the women and men of the 25th Aberdeen Company in Bucksburn, whose compassion and faith was such an inspiration to me, come to mind. I've no doubt that they are a huge part of the reason I am a minister today. They were ordinary working people who gave a huge amount of their time and care for us young men to guide us in good paths and better ways of growing and living. I and others like me owe them a huge debt of gratitude. And my own story is only a story that is repeated 1,000 times over, not just in Scotland or the UK, but all across the world, where that hope of Christ, a hope that is both sure and steadfast, is shared with young people, even among the turbulent currents of their young lives. The verse of the hymn I've always loved the most is the final one. Will your anchor hold through the morning light, the city of gold and the harbour bright? Will your anchor safe by the heavenly shore when life's storms are past forevermore? You can imagine a seafarer following a dark and difficult sea at night, being glad, overjoyed in fact, to see in the morning light, in the dawn light, a calm harbour and a glowing settlement ahead. Life can be tricky, life can be difficult, and so the hymn writer paints this picture of coming home to port, being greeted by the city of gold and the harbour bright, the eternal Jerusalem. The imagery of that verse has always stayed with me in tricky times in this life, and of course with thoughts for a hope when our sojourn here comes to an end. In this life and the next, we have an anchor that keeps the soul steadfast and sure while the billows roll, fastened to the rock which cannot move, grounded firm and deep in the Saviour's love.